In 2007, you became a chiropractic consultant to the White House. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, there's certain things I can't say, but I get
You'll
called.
have to kill us if you tell us.
No, nothing like that. But I get called up by a neurologist at the hospital who knew me by reputation, and we had done some research projects together, and he put some X-rays up, and he's asked my consultation on this particular case, and I said, "This is so and so, isn't it?" He goes, "Yep, you guessed it." And so this is a great story. We had the black limousines pick us up. We take us down to the White House, and we meet the president's doctor. And there was 5 doctors. There was an anesthesiologist, a neurologist, neurosurgeon, orthopedic surgeon, and a chiropractor. And we did the evaluation of this patient. And then we went in and presented to the president's doctor. And the first person said, "Well, I could do this, this, and this, but you should start with the chiropractor." Anesthesiologist, and then the orthopedic surgeon said, "I could do this, but better to start with the chiropractor." All the way down the line, they all referred to me, and then the president's doctor was kind of like, "Well, so what are you going to do?" And I told him, "Well, you're going to do that to me first." So he gets down, and I adjusted. I've got kind of like the wine tasters from the Kings back in the old days. He wanted to see what was going on, and anyway, so that was my first experience at the White House.
Well, and probably I remember one of my mentors in Kansas City, Dr. Richard Yenny, when he was using acupuncture and things before they could use needles, he would use a little device, but he'd have agents from different places coming in, trying to kind of being a patient, posing as a patient, and trying to see if he was doing anything he wasn't supposed to, and consequently they got their health improved. And they're like, "Oh, thank you. I was here to investigate you, but I found out you saved my life." So that's awesome. Now, in 2009, you became the chiropractor for the U.S. We talked about, or 2011, you became the U.S. Navy Musculoskeletal on the advisory board. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, they took recommendations from all around the world, all the different bases for representatives to represent that institution and professions as we were coming up with guidelines for treating musculoskeletal conditions. So I represented Bethesda, and I represented the profession of chiropractic. And there was orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeons, physical therapists, physical medicine doctors, rheumatologists, I believe, as well. So we all got together, and we would basically look at the great cost of musculoskeletal injuries in the military, and how could we best treat those without levels of redundancy and excess and waste. But also, we're all about combat readiness in the military. The Veterans Administration takes care of people who have been disabled. We're about getting people back in the fight and minimizing the downtime. So our big thing truly wasn't healthcare. It was, medical care. It was healthcare. It was, are we keeping the fighting force healthy? And we would discuss things that some of it came to fruition, some didn't. What would happen if you put a chiropractor in a battalion of Marines? Would that give you, if there's at any one time 25, 30 people out of the fight because of musculoskeletal disorders, would that chiropractor give them an extra platoon of Marines? Could that make the difference in a battle? So those are some of the things we would discuss. But cost savings was one, but combat readiness was number one. Can we keep the force healthy enough to be able to fight?
Well, I definitely think chiropractic would help with that. And I know I had a friend that he was doing private security after the Marine Corps, and I would adjust him when he was home, and he's like, "Man, I wish you could come over." I'm like, "Well, I'd have to fly in the Black Op jet or something." But yeah, it's like we don't a lot of times understand what our military goes through and our special forces, and so chiropractic definitely can be key to help keeping them battle ready. Truly. So now in 2016, you are at your current position. You became president of Parker University, and tell us how that came about, and then also, would you tell us a little bit about running a big organization like that? What are some of the challenges, and then what are some of your strategies that you use as a leader to be successful?
Well, how I got here, I was on the board of trustees for Palmer College of Chiropractic for 10 years, which is the world's largest chiropractic college. And I poured myself into understanding the inner workings of that college. And so for years, I saw it from the 50,000 foot level, but interacting and developing strategic planning initiatives, having goals, dealing with finance, budgets. So I learned it from that level. But I also was a professor at New York Chiropractic College, and I was an instructor for several other schools, an assistant professor for medical school, which I'd have medical students come by. So I knew it from the board level, and I knew it from the level of being an instructor and a professor. But then as a leader, I knew I was a department head at Walter Reed. So as we planned a new hospital, and I would meet with the hospital's leadership early on to have strategic planning sessions there. So I learned about leadership that way. And I also have my own seminar business on the side. So I don't know if you heard it, but Parker's got a big seminar component. So yes. I had a lot of the workings that the board was looking for. The big thing I think they wanted was I knew what the end product was supposed to look like. That sometimes when you get in the factory of building something, you don't realize that the widget I'm doing now actually ends up being a car at the other end. So I know that from all the students who've come to under my tutelage as Clint, and they come to the hospital and spend 6 months with me, whether a medical student or a chiropractic student, I have taken them from 9 different schools. I would see the weaknesses and the strengths from each of the schools, and then I try to put it together and get them out the door. So that's kind of what I think what I bring to the table is I know what the end product needs. I know what society needs. I certainly know what the big institutions like the military wants and the strengths that we need to have to do that.